Hi, Ed here for MMORPG.com. We've currently just been to Frontier Expo 2017, where we've learned more about Elite Dangerous's 2.4 Horizons update and beyond for 2018. I'm currently here with some of the team. Why don't you guys introduce yourself for anyone that doesn't know who you are?
My name is Adam Woods and I'm Senior Producer at Frontier Developments, currently working on Elite Dangerous.
And my name's Sandy Samarco and I'm Lead Designer on Elite Dangerous.
And if you've been watching MMORPG.com, you'll have seen some of the details about the update that's coming in 2018. But for the two of you, what's the most interesting part of the keynote speech that you saw yesterday?
For me, it's encompassed by the fact that we had announced that we were going to go back to the kind of foundations and the core of what makes Elite Dangerous, yeah, and enhance and kind of just bolster everything again. We announced that a couple of months ago on the forums, and we've delivered on that promise now. You know, with the roadmap that we showed yesterday, and the general feedback that we've had so far, we've hit those boxes. So that's what I'm most excited about, is the fact that, you know, we're true to our word and we're doing it. We're delivering on that promise.
Cool. And what about yourself?
For me, it's pretty clear exploration. One of the big core gameplay areas that we're going to revisit in the series of updates coming in 2018. Exploration has always been a massive part of Elite, and it's going to be really cool to go in there and make it really magical, make it much cooler and sexier the way you discover things, and actually get a stack more things to discover. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
And one of the major benefits possibly for exploration is going to be the art changes that are coming to the planets as you go around them. Can you tell anyone that's not had a chance to rewatch the keynote speech about the changes that are coming and the big first update drop to the assets in the universe?
Yeah, right. So I don't want to speak too much for the art department because I'm a layman of being to designer. But as far as I can make out, it's basically they've looked at the way that the tools that they use to generate these planets, and they've really just brought out all of the colour variation, contrast, and detail. And so from this first update, the Core 1 update, the planets should really pop and be visually more, even more stunning than they already are. So, and that's an ongoing process that's going to carry on into the second larger update in 2018.
Yeah, and that's coming with the first major update, and that's in Q1 of 2018, I believe.
Yes, yeah. So we're kind of shelving them as a Q1 update, which is substantial. Then we are looking at a couple of content updates, basically, which will bring missions, ships, those sorts of things. And then towards the end of the year, it's the big jewel of the crown, which is the Q4 update, which brings the exploration, mining, and squadrons.
Yeah. And squadrons indeed. And before the squadrons, there'll be some challenges that those squadrons might end up taking on, I believe, coming in. There'll be new narrative content, new updates to scenarios that are coming in. There's a whole plethora of things. And some of those narrative updates and the content scenarios that are coming in are going to involve the Thargoids, I believe.
Yeah, so players, the Thargoids are back. They've returned. 2.4, the return is only just beginning. We had a little sneak peek at what is yet to come, even just with the release that we just made in the return. And players are going to see more of the same, basically. The narrative is really starting to kick off now, but we're also not forgetting about the Guardians, and players are starting to understand there might be a link between the Guardians and the Thargoids. So, you know, that's yet to develop, basically.
And it's been quite a change over the years since the game launched, starting as a small cluster of stars into what is slowly becoming a massive sweeping space opera. How's that changed the way that the game's developed and that you interact with players when you're making the game for them?
I think it's a rather boring question, because although sorry, not boring, a boring answer. Sorry, not a boring question. Sorry. Boring answer, because it hasn't really changed, because from the beginning, even so, like the second alpha where we brought the multiplayer and the 4 scenarios that you could choose, it was all built on the foundation that we were going to end up in a one-to-one recreation of the Milky Way. So the development has always been on that track, and it continues to be on that track as we go forward. And again, the communication with the backers, and I call them backers because it started with a Kickstarter, it developed there, and it's just continued on, and has only gotten better. So I'd say that the way it's changed is just that it's gone from strength to strength, as we talk about what we're going to do and then follow on well, follow it up with actually doing it as well. You know, that kind of, we've got, it's not a ship and forget, we're going to come back to it 3 years later, we are still here, a full development team working our hearts out on our baby.
Yeah, and clearly clearly your player base, as you've said, they're backers as much as they are your player base, and they're important to you. And one of your updates that we touched on just a moment ago was your Squadron update. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Squadron update that's coming and how that's going to impact the players? Yeah,
I think Sandy is best placed for this one.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the Squadrons is a really good instance of how maybe it has changed, how the way we've developed the game. When we first launched, we had to make judgment calls on what we thought players want. I mean, that's how you make a game. But ever since then, it's kind of grown, and now it feels like it's more of a covenant between us as guardians of the game and the player base community that play the game. So they were crying out, they were asking us for more support to work as teams, to work as groups within the galaxy. And we took that feedback on board, and so we're really pleased that we're going to be adding in this organisational structure we're calling Squadrons. It's going to allow players to join up, all working under effectively the same banner. We're going to give them enhanced communications so that it's going to be much easier for them to coordinate their efforts, whether they're manipulating the giant background simulations that's in the game or completing specific community goals. And also, we're going to do some cool things for them, like give them a mobile fleet carrier. So it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah.
And those sort of updates that you're bringing, they seem to be creating kind of almost like they're community tools essentially. They're creating groups and sticky, and they're really cementing the player base for that longer, big sweeping narrative that's going to be coming in, hopefully.
Yeah, so there is the narrative that we're sort of driving and controlling and spoon feeding to the community. If they want to find it, they can go and find it and they can be part of it, or they can do their own things. And that's why I think we've got such a vibrant community, because it's kind of up to you what you want to do in the game. So you start getting collections of people that want to do the same sorts of things. And you're right, I'm pleased that we're giving tools to see more player stories come out of the game. For me, that's a really exciting part of the game. Seeing these, like with all the discoveries of the Thargoid stuff, it's always been players are finding things, and it's so lovely to make it to have that feeling of the players are discovering the game. And I think that for longevity as well, giving the players tools like this that they can create their own narratives within a bigger narrative or a separate narrative if they want to stay on their own, just means that it can just keep going. There's no real kind of end to it, because they're just going to develop a new story for themselves.
I think it's really important for us to kind of clarify that we aren't creating these communities with these tools. The communities are already there. They created themselves, and it's been beautiful. It's been amazing to watch. So what we're doing really is we're supporting them. We want to help them flourish, but they're driving that process, and I think it's a really cool place to be in for us.
And if anyone wants to become part of this wider community, how can players go ahead and get Beyond? I believe it's available already. It's going to be available for free.
Yeah, so if you own Elite Dangerous Horizons, everything we spoke about on the main stage keynote yesterday is for free when we release the updates throughout 2018.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so if you've got Elite Dangerous on its own, just upgrade to Horizons, and then all those things will come for free. But not only do you get what's in Beyond for free, you also, of course, you've just bought Horizons, which has got an incredible amount of content with the initial 2.0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 updates. So you're getting a lot of game, basically.
So, assuming that the Thargoids don't completely decimate the Milky Way before Beyond comes out, then you can certainly jump in your ship, blast off into space, and explore the rest of the Milky Way in Elite Dangerous. And thank you very much for both of you for your time.
Thanks very much.